Chapter 95. Garbage Teammate. Translator, Sky Pharaoh Editor, Sky Pharaoh. The female goo master's body was like a rag doll. From the waist and across it was broken, and her upper body laid on the ground, displayed at an odd angle against her lower body, the arms parallel to the ground while her legs were pointing toward the sky. From afar, Fang Yuan also started to descend. First, he hit the tree canopy and broke many branches before landing on the snowy ground. He turned his body nimbly and stood up on the snowy ground. Because he had utilized the jade skin goo earlier, other than some pain in his back, he was unscathed. On the battlefield, after a momentary silence, Zhao San's angry howl could be heard. "Fang Yuan, didn't you say you could hold on?" Fang Yuan laughed coldly in the dark, but suddenly his body twisted and he almost fell down. He used his hand to hold onto the tree trunk as support and was able to maintain his body balance. He pretended to limp as if he could not walk, but his gaze swept across the surroundings to see if there was any other goo masters. Against the beast horde, the goo masters were fighting with all they had and could not be free enough or even have the mood to observe Fang Yuan. Even though he had been observing in secret and found no goo masters nearby, Fang Yuan still discreetly chose to hide himself. From the other side, intense battle noises could be heard again. Evidently, the wild boar king had escaped its entrapment and was fighting once again with the red lava python. Fang Yuan shifted step by step towards them with a face of anxiety, almost falling onto the ground a few times. Dirt, soil, grass, and snow were all over his body, making him appear battered and exhausted. He finally got back to the fringe of the battlefield. On the battlefield, 3 people and a pig were fighting. The red lava python coiled around the body of the wild boar king and its 2 hind legs. The wild boar king's 2 front legs could only thrash around randomly, causing it to roll on the ground, sometimes struggling. With the movement of its 2 front legs, it knocked and crashed into things randomly. There were even more injuries on its body now. The boiling pig blood had dyed the floor red. Seeing Fang Yuan, the outermost position Guyue Kongjing said, "Fang Yuan, you scum! You caused Hua Xin to die." I didn't mean it, but I really couldn't hold it." Fang Yuan shouted. "Fuck, then why did you promise so confidently if you couldn't? No means no. Giving false promises like this will kill us all," Guyue Kongjing furiously screamed. If he was not in combat at the moment, he would go up and give Fang Yuan 2 tight slaps. "Sorry, I won't do it again," Fang Yuan quickly yelled back. "Fang Yuan, we'll talk about this later." Sickly snake, Zhao Sun roared, feeling his pressure intensify. The almost dead wild boar king had flown into madness, and the red lava python had injuries and cracks all over its body. "Kongjing, don't bother with Fang Yuan. Quickly take out the knife scale web." When Zhao Sun saw that the red lava python was almost at its breaking point, he shouted in panic with cold sweat all over. "Yes!" Kongjing quickly retrieved the big belly frog and used his primeval essence, vomiting a piece of steel web. On this steel web there were sharp spikes and apparent blades. "Fang Yuan, grab the other end and rush up with me. We'll entangle the wild boar king," Kongjing said. "But my leg is injured. I cannot walk," Fang Yuan said with an anxious expression, crippling his way there. "Useless thing," Kongjing, with no other choice, had to do it himself, his hands dragging the knife scale's web and throwing it at the wild boar king. The wild boar king was covered by the knife scale web, causing it to cry out as fresh blood splattered. It had predicted that its death was impending and struggled even more fiercely. As its struggle intensified, the knife scale web's entanglement got tighter, and its injuries worsened. As for the red lava python, because of its rock body, it did not take much damage from this knife scale web. "What a waste of this fur," Zhao San said in pity. Finally settled, Kongjing breathed out in relief. At this time, Fang Yuan shouted, "Let me help you guys!" Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh! Numerous moonblades flew out and hit the knife scale web, causing the steel threads to be torn apart. With the wild boar king's intense struggle, the hole got even bigger and the knife scale web was torn into pieces, allowing the wild boar king to escape. At once! Kong Jing stared with bulging eyes, lost for words. What? What the fuck? Another female Gu master could no longer care about her feminine image and swore loudly. It seems I messed up. I wanted to help, Fang Yuan said, sounding very sincere and innocent. Zhao San dodged the wild boar king's charge, rolling on the floor. Before he even got up, he shouted, Fang Yuan! You dumb piece of shit! See what you did? You're simply garbage for a teammate. Leader, you must trust me, I didn't mean it. Fang Yuan defended himself. Shut the fuck up from now on! Do nothing, wait at the corner! Zhao San shouted, rolling again and dodging the wild boar king's trample. Fang Yuan snickered, but still obediently took tens of steps back. All of you, get back! Zhao San shouted, finally showing his true trump card as two strands of poisonous yellow air came out from his nostrils. The poisonous air continued to come out from his nose, growing more and more until they gathered into a lump of yellow poisonous cloud. The wild boar king and Zhao San's shadow could be seen outside the poisonous cloud. Kong Jing, Fang Yuan, and the others observed outside the yellow cloud. Fang Yuan said to the remaining female Gu master, Heal my leg, it's injured. The female Gu master flew into a rage. My good sister is dead, and your leg is only stumped. Why don't you go and die? Fang Yuan said in grievance, I didn't want this to happen either. But his eyes shone with a trace of sharpness. Should I act and eliminate these people? It is a chance to act now. In their subconscious minds, they would not expect me to have killing intention. If the sickly snake group is exterminated, there would be fewer restrictions on me. But if any Gu master saw this process, I would fall into the abyss. The crime of killing a clansman is the most unforgivable in this world. Not only will I be executed, I would also have to face all sorts of torture for 7 days and 7 nights. Death is not scary, but for such a small group, it is not worth the risk. A pity the wild boar king is dying. After this battle, the sickly snake group would be greatly weakened, and their battle strength would be at the lowest. They would definitely leave the battlefield. What a pity. This was a godsend opportunity. Fang Yuan felt regret and pity in his heart. But he had done it to the greatest limit, and if he exceeded this, the feeling of sabotage would thicken. The others were not stupid. They would notice, and if other Gu masters saw this, the risk would intensify. 5 minutes later, the wild boar king plopped onto the ground. The yellow cloud dissipated, and Zhao San breathed loudly with a pale face. He had used his final trump card, and now he had little to no primeval essence left. All of you come here and dissect the corpse quickly. We will retreat after taking the spoils of the battle, Zhao San shouted. Fang Yuan surrounded the wild boar king and quickly began to dissect the corpse. The wild boar king's blood was still hot, and the smell of blood was thick. Throughout the surrounding forest that was enshrouded in darkness, there were continuous howls from wild beasts and intense battle noises. But there were no wild beasts in this tiny battlefield. This was the authority of the Beast King. There were rules among the wild beasts. The thick aura of the wild boar king caused other wild beasts to shrink in fear, and if the beast horde came here, they would find their way around this region. Of course, if it was another stronger beast horde or another beast king, they would not care about the wild boar king's aura. At this time, pairs of blue eyes glowed in the surrounding darkness. From other places, blood-curdling screeches and alarm cries of Gu masters could be heard. It's the wolves, the wolf pack. The lightning wolf pack actually appeared. Damn it, why is there a wolf pack here? It is still not the time for the outburst of the wolf tide, right? Retreat, forget the wild boar king. We have to retreat quickly, Zhao San shouted, and the faces of the surrounding people also turned white. One lightning wolf was not scary, but a pack of lightning wolves, even the wild boar king would have to run. Most importantly, the lightning wolves' durability and endurance were high. They also had great speed, being most proficient at chasing. At such a critical moment, Zhao San could no longer care about the others, abandoning the three and running for his life. Group leader, wait for me! Kong Jing shouted in panic, catching up to him. I do not have a goo worm that enhances my speed. I can't escape. Jiao San and the others have no primeval essence left. So even if they have a speed-type goo, they can't escape the chase of the lightning wolves. Under the danger of death, Fang Yan evaluated calmly. He quickly hit the neck of the female goo master near him, who was in a daze, causing her to faint. Next, by dragging her, he burrowed into the wild boar king's stomach that was cut open. The wild boar king's stomach was already cut open with a huge wound. Fang Yuan squeezed his way into the bloody wild boar's body, at the same time using the female goo master's body to block away the entrance and cover up his body. The wolf pack quickly descended, mostly chasing after Jiao San and Kong Jing, while a portion of them surrounded the wild boar king and feasted. While Fang Yuan was inside the wild boar's body, he could hear the wolves chewing and swallowing, as well as their biting, causing vibrations in the corpse. To think that the first beast horde had lightning wolves? This is a surprise. The clan would definitely send reinforcements. The wild boar king's body is huge, so if the lightning wolves want to eat it completely, they would still need some time. As long as I can hold out, I would be spared from them. Fang Yuan pondered deeply. Without accident, Jiao San and Kong Jing should be dead meat. They had little primeval essence and were not speed-oriented, so with such a small distance, they would definitely get slaughtered by the wolves. When people panic, they would make dumb decisions. Under the pressure of death, there are little who can remain as calm as Fang Yan and make the most appropriate decisions. Even if the wild boar king's flesh was all eaten, exposing Fang Yuan who was hiding, the amount of lightning wolves that Fang Yuan would have to deal with is definitely lesser than the others. According to his experience, at most 5 would appear, which would be his limit. He had much greater chance of surviving. Taos, the lightning wolves continued to chew and bite, the sound indicating that they were getting closer. The wild boar king's flesh had mostly gone into the lightning wolf's stomach. If a normal person was in such a predicament, they would feel as if the seconds that were passing by were like an eternity. But instead, Fang Yuan closed his eyes and took out his primeval stones, fighting against time to recover his primeval essence.